Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 153rd installment of the Torah portion of the week. We are holding by Parshas Chayei Sarah. Parshas Chayei Sarah speaks about Sarah's death and the purchase of a burial site for Sarah. Speaks about also finding a wife for Yitzchak and everything that Eliezer goes through, right, to find a wife for him. So pretty packed parsha here. I want to hit something at the end of the parsha. The Torah tells us, chapter 25, verse 7. Torah says, "These are the days of the years of Avram's life, which he lived 100 years, 7 years, 70 years, and 5 years. And then he died, right? He expired and he died at a good old age, mature, content, gathered to his people." So it's interesting that the Torah says these are the days of the years, right? Why does it say specifically that language, the days of the year? So it says Mori v'Rebbe Arav Agon Moshe Machlita should be well. He brings down in Chochmah V'das. He brings down that we see a person, or there are many people, that is very light in their eyes, meaning they don't really care, and they waste time. They waste time. Could be a full day, right? Could be 2 full days. They sit around, do nothing, right? Sleep, maybe they'll watch TV, whatever, but seemingly they don't do anything. So they say, let's say, we'll make it easy. Let's say it's just one day. They say, okay. A person lives their life, however many years they're here. They say, one day, what's the big deal? One day I'm going to chill. Right? I'm going to chill out. I'm not going to do anything. But you see, according to Avram had no concept. No days off. But every day was a day in Avodas Hashem. Right? Every day he worked hard to reach whatever potential. So it says here, these are the days of the year. So Rebbe learns. He learns the days of the year. Every day is special. You should use it to the fullest. Avram certainly didn't waste time. So then he says, if a person wastes a day, if he wastes a day, it's as if he died on that day. It's like a day of death. And it says Avram lived all his days. So he wasn't complacent one day. Put his feet up, relax, drink a pina colada. All his days he used to the best of his ability, right, to reach potential. No concept of wasting time. Then my Rebbe says, I'll tell you a Zohar. The Zohar says an unbelievable thing. He said, in the future, the days of a person's life are going to envelop him like a levush, like clothing. Clothing for the soul. And hopefully it'll be sparkling clothing when he gets to the next world. In other words, he uses his days right. He's going to have sparkling clothing. But what if he doesn't? And if he wastes days, he wastes his time, kicks his feet up, doesn't do anything the whole day, he sips pina coladas, then there are going to be holes in his levush. There's going to be holes in that spiritual clothing. So he says, woe to that day, woe to that day of embarrassment. In other words, you get upstairs, person has to account for every day. So a person wasted time, wasted days. He says, oh, it's only one day. So the levush, that clothing in the next world, again, spiritual terms, because we don't have clothes in the next world. In spiritual terms, what does that levush look like? It's lacking. It's not going to be as sparkly. But he says a person can do tshuva in order to sanctify the days that are lacking. So even a person spent the day sipping pina coladas, if a person properly does tshuva, if he properly repents, he gets the day back. So a person has to take with him all his days. And then he can adorn himself in the next world. But if he's got days that are lacking, unless he does tshuva, woe to the person, embarrassment. Gonna get upstairs in that fine robe, that sparkling robe, gonna be a little bit tarnished for the days that are missing. So he also brings down here from the words of the Haflah, right? One of the great commentaries more than 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 200 years ago. And the Haflah says that what we say before we say Tehillim. When we say Psalms, there's a paragraph we say before we say Psalms. And it says, may it be your will. Right? In the Hiratzon, that's the paragraph. It starts, may it be your will. Right? The paragraph before we say Psalms, the person says Psalms. And what do we say? We say, Al tikachenu me'olam hazeh, don't take me from this world. Ad melo shnoiseinu b'hem shivim shana. Don't take me from this world until I fulfill my years, 70 years. B'oifen shenuchal letakein es asher shlichaseinu. Let me be around. God, fulfill your promise. You're going to give me 70 years, like King David says. So give me 70 years so I can fix up all the terrible things I might have done. So Rabbi says, and he brings down this Haflah. And he says it's a wonder. Why are we only praying for 70 years? Right, King David says the average is 70 years. If you have strength, you get 80 years. Right, up to 80 years. Anything over that's a gift. So he says, why are we praying for 70 years? Right, we pray that we should merit long life. So why are we cutting ourselves short? Why should we only say 70 years? So Rebbe says, you want to live 70 years. You want to get the guarantee of living 70 years. You need to live 100 years or more to fix up all the wasted days. And we should desire to live until we finish our years, 70 years, meaning that we should have 70 complete years. So even if we live 80, 90 years, or 100 years, we're going to need those years to fix up days that we wasted. And we want 70 complete years. So he says, that's called the Riches Yomim. That is called long life. Because you're using those other years to fix up what you messed up in this world. So you need a lot more years to get to 70. So what should that tell us? The Rebbe says very simple. It says, or he says, that we should sanctify the days, all our days, not waste them. Because you have a wasted day, it's a little bit of a chink in the armor. The levush, the garment, seemingly, the spiritual garment your soul's going to wear, not going to look so good. if you waste days. But if you do tshuva and you have more days, okay, then you can have 70 complete years. So he says, if you sanctify the time properly and you don't waste it, good. So then he says, then he brings down from the Derech Pichudecha. I don't know who wrote it, right? But he brings down from this book that the mitzvah of Ritzicha, murder, right? A person can be liable for murder for wasting his time. Because what did you do? Ooh, what? You were mevatel atzmai. You were mevatel v'atzmai. You wasted your time. Or you wasted your friend's time. When he could have been learning and fulfilling his potential. He says it's an offshoot of murder. This is a scary thought. Further wants to speak politics, speak about sports, entertainment, when he should be learning. He's wasting his friend's time. Murder! You just murdered him! So you say, okay, I won't waste his time. You waste your own time. You wasted your own time. You could have been learning. You murder yourself. Because at that time, he's wasting his time. And if he's wasting his time, he's got the status of a mace. He's got the status of being dead. And that's why if a person closes someone's eyes if they're a goyses, they're about to die, he's called a shoifech dam if he does that. Then he's called a murderer because he's hastening the death. If a person hastens someone's death even a second, even 2 seconds, that's murder. All the more so, we waste time. We waste time from doing mitzvahs, from doing good things, reaching our potential. We waste time. That's akin to death. It says the person has to be careful. The person has to be careful. Use all his days properly. So you tell me, if a person works, when they're not working, all you men out there, you got an obligation to learn. You're tired, your wife needs you, whatever. You need to fix time to learn. But if you could have learned and you don't, and you waste time, not only is that considered murder for yourself, could be you murdered other people also. That's called murder. Right? It's called ritzicha. It's an offshoot. It's an offshoot of murder. So, there are 2 things here. First thing is what the Zohar says. You don't use your day properly. You have an obligation to learn, all you men out there. You have an obligation to learn. So if you're working, you're exempt. Because you're working. Got to make parnasa. Got to make a living. If you're not working, well, you don't have to work. And you sit there and you waste your time. You put your feet up on the hammock, on your sofa, and you end up doing what? You end up wasting time. You're sipping your pina colada. Says the Zohar, you're not going to have complete days. If you don't have complete days, that means you're going to have to do some serious tshuva. Because when you get upstairs, that lavush, that clothing, that spiritual, what's it going to do? It's going to be tarnished. Totally going to be tarnished. He says, woe to that embarrassment. So imagine, King David says you're going to get 70 years. You want 70 complete years. And you want all the days to fit. So you're not wasting time. You're going to have to live a lot more years. You're going to have to do tshuva. Real tshuva. In order to have those 70 complete years. Now let's analyze one aspect of this, and that is that what's the big deal about chilling? Why can't you just chill? Well, what's the problem? Well, the Zohar says the big problem. If you can't learn, you're too tired. You can't concentrate on anything. Doesn't mean you kick your feet up and you start sipping a pina colada. Either go to sleep or find something else to do where you're going to be exempt, not just waste time. Right? The old joke, how do you kill time? You throw the alarm clock out the window. So we don't believe, Judaism does not believe in wasting time. Fine, you got obligations to do things. Got an obligation to work. Got to put food on the table, okay? But what happens when I'm not working? Got an obligation to learn. Everyone at their level. How much time you can devote. But if you're obligated to learn and you don't, and you're just relaxing, there are a lot of things a person can do, while they relax. A person can turn on the TV, go on the computer, but if he had no opportunity to learn, he's just wasting his time. Says Zohar, there's nothing worse than that. Embarrassment in the future. It's going to be 10 times greater. So you will tell me, well, that's very intense. Life is intense. Life's not about a bucket list. Right? Not about places I want to see before I die. Things I want to do before I die. Nobody knows when they're going to die. Right? They got to do tshuva every day. Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says. So how do you know when you're going to die? So you have tshuva on your lips before you die. That means by the opportunity I should go see the world. I don't know why you have to do that. So maybe you'll say, well, won't God be impressed? You want to see His wonders? You want to go to the Alps? You want to see the Alps? You want to see other great creations? And praise God? But if you were to ask Him, again, it's my guess, so you can take it for what it's worth. If you were to ask Him what's better, praise you for your wonders, go to the Alps, spend a few days, a little bit of R&R, or should I sit in the base medrash? So you can say, well, you can do both. While you're there, sit in the base medrash. But recognizing God's creation and God's wonder, I can do it with a picture. I don't necessarily have to be there to do it. To use our days to our potential, it's not an easy thing to do. If we look back every night before we go to sleep, what did I do? What did I do during that day? Did I maximize it? The famous stories of the Chazon Ish. He wasn't a very strong person in general. Chazon Ish. There were many times family found him on the floor. He was just so exhausted he couldn't even get to his bed. That's using all your energy. That's using the day for all your potential. When you can't do any more. And should crawl into bed. Well, he sort of got there. Or didn't get there. Potential's a tricky thing. Because nobody knows what their potential is. But people want to veg in this world. They want to relax. There are plenty of people out there who work like dogs. 7-8 hours a day. Maybe 6 days a week. Get paid, not so well. Others work longer hours. People want to chill. They want to relax. It's a good thing there's sports on TV on the weekends. It gives people a chance to veg a little bit. Enjoy, even if your team's not any good. A person can veg, see a movie. Whatever. But that's not what the Torah wants. The Torah wants a person to reach their potential. The Torah doesn't want you to veg. The Torah wants you to use your mind. The Torah wants you to help others. The Torah wants you to be the best you can be at whatever you do. Right? Meaning in spiritual terms. First, that's to work because they have to work. But there is this, there is no concept, of vegging out. Because it's either I'm going in the right direction or the wrong direction every second of every day. At the end, we're going to be very surprised. God's going to show us a scorecard. He's going to say, well, I didn't waste my time here. God's going to say, let's see. So some people will say, oh, the ultra-Orthodox, all doom and gloom. Can't have any fun. Okay, you have to know when you're allowed to. A person needs to regenerate a little bit. It's one thing. But we say here in Israel, yesh gvul. There's a limit. You can take a whole day. You're not going to learn something the entire day. You're just going to veg. Right? That's what he's talking about here. You can take a whole day and do nothing. So we're going to take it literally. It means you did nothing. You didn't learn, no mitzvahs, nothing. Turned your mind off. You watched all the Rocky movies. in order. I remember when Rocky 4 came out, they had a thing, you pay a certain amount, you watch all of them. And all of them, and then Rocky 4 was the last one. Or at least, at that point. So, you can say, I'm just going to veg out. I'm going to take the next 6 hours, 8 hours. I'm just going to watch Rocky. Yo, Adrian! What an amazing thing. Entertaining? If you like it, it's entertaining. A lot of fun. But you let your brain atrophy. You just sat there. Aren't the things that are most fun probably forbidden? Could be. Not going to claim not. But when you're looking at the soul, you're looking at the insatiable soul, you just filled it with garbage. And you spent the whole day, whole afternoon, evening doing nothing. Letting your brain atrophy. When you let your brain atrophy, it does nothing. It's harder to restart it in Torah. Someone told me you can tell, if he's learning with someone, you can tell if you watched a movie or not. Even one, not even saying all night. You can see the concentration's not there. They're spacey. Their mind's somewhere else. Torah's about focus. It's intense. Doesn't all have to be doom and gloom. But the reality is, this is how we have to live. We're not robots. Right? We need to take some time here and there. But let's say even, a person goes out with their family on Chol Moed, on a trip during intermediate days of Sukkot or on Passover. So you're going to be gone for part of the day. Okay, that's okay. Spending time with family. So what about before that? What about finding time to learn before that? Okay, if you can't, you're busy with other things, you're exempt. But what if you could have? You're just wasting time. Going to be liable for that also. The Torah is about perfecting ourselves, reaching potential at the highest level. You take time off. Let's say in this case you veg for a day. Take you 2 days to get back to where you were before. You just took 2 steps backwards. So now to get back to where you were before, you got to work much harder. But the Zohar is saying something even more than that. It's not just, okay, you'll come back to it. Eventually you get back to where you were. The Zohar says if you don't do tshuva, you lost it. Not you came back to where you were learning, whatever. You lost that day. That day is ripped up. You don't get it back. Unless you do tshuva. So therefore, my Rebbe says, person has to take with him all the days. So that spiritual levush is going to be whole. It's going to sparkle. It's going to be beautiful. But how many days out there is there nothing? Garment ain't going to look so good. Going to have holes. It's going to have, pockets there. Not going to be as shiny. Like, hey, it won't be as shiny. What's the big deal? The big deal is we can't even imagine what this is. What's a person living for? Person's living to be medabek LaKodesh Baruch Hu, to attach themselves to God. How are you going to do that? Torah, mitzvahs, Ramchal speaks about it in Derech Hashem. Right? He speaks about it in the way of God. That's the goal. So anything that takes us away from that, even if it's fun, when I could have been working on my potential, so that takes away from our closeness. That means I just took a step back, 2 steps back, 5 steps back. Got to do tshuva. You got to recognize what life is. Right? The years go by, they go by very quick. Person thinks going to be here forever. Fame! Right? Thinks going to be here forever. Not the case. The days add up, the months add up, the years add up. But what are you using them for? Or do we hold by the adage, eat, drink, and marry, lest tomorrow I die? Might as well enjoy it now. Or some people say, I just won't have a bigger portion of the world to come. No, you won't get there. It won't just be you have a smaller portion. You're finished. You don't prepare Erev Shabbos, you don't eat on Shabbos. If you don't prepare, how are you going to get there? Because I had this mentality, wrong mentality, that, you do good in school, right? Good in high school, go to a good college, so you get a good job, you get married, have a couple kids, retire, see the world and die. Seems a little bit depressing. That's the way a lot of the world lives. They go through the motions, do what their society tells them to do. And hopefully they retire, they, see different things, and that's it. It's been a good life. But they miss the whole point of what life is. Because they know, I have meaning, I have this, I have that. How is there meaning without God in your life? How is there meaning without Torah if you're a Jew, or keeping what you need to keep as a Noahide? How is anything else meaningful? Doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. You help others, whatever. No, there are people out there who like their jobs. Happy with what they're doing. But that's not connecting to spiritual. That's not going in the direction God wants me to go. You're doing what you have to do for Parnasa. Fine. You may even enjoy it. Fine. What about your everyday life? Right? What are my goals? Am I reaching potential? Am I working on character traits? Most people don't have a clue. It's understandably why. We can certainly understand why. Because they're apathetic. They're not interested. They think they have what they need. Well, I'm never going to be like you, whatever, okay? You don't even know what it is. So in the end, are they going to be fulfilled? I don't think so. You say, how do you know? Because most people are on Prozac. Most people are depressed. And they're not happy. Even if they have money. Because they always want something more. They want something that they can't have. Or it doesn't make sense to have, whatever. But most people are miserable. And they're miserable because they don't have Torah in their life. You think that's the answer? That's what God tells us. What we do affects our soul. Positively or negatively. So therefore what? Therefore, if you're not attached, you're out there. You're lost. Impossible to find happiness. So again, we can convince ourselves we are happy. We can convince ourselves this is the meaning of life. We come up with all kinds of things. But the Torah says the days, the years are important. They define who we are. When a person dies, and it says they live 70 years, 75 years, 50 years, whatever, what do they leave in this world? They only leave what they did in this world. Right? Their good deeds, God forbid, their bad deeds. What are you going to say? 20 tons of shrimp in their life? Put on as their epitaph. Went to all these ball games. Went to every baseball stadium in America. Unbelievable. That's something to wish for. And you call me a fanatic. That's insanity. You think, well, not everyone's like that. Fine. Just fill in the blank what people do. What are on most people's bucket list? To visit places. See things before they die. Why? Because it's there. Isn't it a big thing? A lot of people go, visit Australia, see the coral reef. Beautiful. So? What does that do with anything? It'd be one thing you're going to go see it. You're going to say, wow, look at God's wonders. Unbelievable. You tell me that, maybe we can have a discussion. You want to see the Eiffel Tower. You want to see the tower, I don't know, whatever it is. Big Ben. You want to go to England, see Big Ben, Parliament. See the changing of the guard. See Tivoli Gardens in Italy and in Rome. But what are we seeing these things for? Because it's a beautiful place to see. Very nice. What does beauty have to do with anything? What does going to a different place do for you? You say, I'm chilling. I want to see the world before I die. See as much as I can, if I can. That's not meaning of life. Alright, seeing beautiful things, but you're missing one pretty important component. You take God right out of the picture. You're saying, I want to go see this because I want to go see it. That doesn't do with godliness. It has to do with going to another place. Seeing another culture. That's not my own. So person don't say there's value in that. They want to travel. What do you care? What do I care about? It's what the Torah says. The Torah says no days off. The Torah says no bucket list. Your bucket list should be finishing Shas. Learning as much as possible. Doing as many good things as you can. Going to see change of the guard. Going to see the Alps. Again, you want to tell me, you're going to sanctify God's name by going there and praising Him and praising creation, all that? Okay, let's have a discussion. 99% of the people are not doing that. They're going because they want to go. And you'll say that's okay for them. Comes along the Torah and says no. Torah says that days are holy. The nights are holy. What do I do with them? How do I use them in my everyday life? Do I use them for good? Do I use them for bad? Gonna have to take an accounting. Seems like this spiritual clothing that we'll wear in the next world. Don't know. Some of us not gonna be so good. Might be kind of small. When you think about, hey, it's not my size. You know why it's not your size? Because you blew it. You blew days on end. The person's going to say one day, big deal. But it's not just one day. It spirals. It could be hours of another day. Certainly could. But when we see how many days of the year we used properly, I think we're in for a shock. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. What's the light at the end of the tunnel? Tshuva! Person can repent. Person can get the day he blew, he get it back. If you didn't have repentance, we're all in a lot of trouble. So Rebbe says, imagine you want 70 full years. How many years do you think you have to live to get to 70? He was saying 80, 90, 100. It could be years we wasted. Because I know people from my youth doing the same thing they were doing before. Alright, they may have families now, whatever. What are they living for? Next ball game? Next movie? Rocky 250? What are they waiting for? What are they hoping for? So at the end, with all the excuses, what they'll say gives them meaning in life, gets wiped off the face of the map. And God's going to flush them. Why? Because any of these things are not real. They're not real at all. And that's why this world is a big world of fantasy. And it's enjoying. People can enjoy it. It's hard. But there can be tremendous enjoyment. Sit back and watch a game 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And the team wins, even better. Close game, exciting. Anything better than that? Yeah, nice piece of Gemara. Hard Tosfos. Looking up a explanation on Chumash. Learning Musar. Jewish philosophy. Putting ideas into your head that you want to change, you want to be better. Isn't that better? Bottom of the 9, 2 out, bases loaded, down by 3. Clean up, hitter up to bat. Yeah, sounds exciting if you're into baseball. But if you're into spirituality, it's nothing. The most, climatic things, whatever they are, sports or whatever, I don't hold the candle to Torah. I'm not saying it's not entertaining. And people get into it. And it's exciting. But fantasy. Right? That's all it is. It's a distraction. If there weren't, these games going on the weekends, the world would look even worse than it does. Comes along the Torah and says, Elu yemei shnei chayei Avram asher chai. These are the days that Avram lived. So that means if you don't use those days properly, you're dead. And if you waste someone's time, it's like murder. Very intense. This is how, we should live our lives. So I remind everyone, I have a class every Tuesday night on Duties of the Heart. We are in Shar B'Tachon. We are discussing faith in God. When it comes to livelihood and other things. That's every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock New York time. I have 2 Q&As, question and answer sessions, every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 in the morning New York time. I have a class in Book of Leviticus every Sunday, 9 o'clock New York time. And I have conversion classes, one on Sunday, one on Thursday. If anyone has any questions or interested in any of these classes, you can find me on Facebook, Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism. Send me an email, rabbichaimkoffman@gmail.com, RABBICHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com. Wish everyone a great Shabbos.